Hi everyone, welcome to our psychologics education program. So today we will learn in this lesson the competency based questions from our grade 12th chapter 2 self and personality. What exactly the self and personality, if we see how the self and personality concepts are contributing to how the self and personality are actually helping us and making us to understand our main concepts here. So I can say to you people here, as we discussed in our first video, in the self and personality, if we see, it's a very big chapter and having a more weightage. So today we will learn from the self concept to trait approach theories. And it is like a part 1 for you people from the chapter 2. The remaining portion as the part 2 I will cover in the next video. So let us understand what exactly the term personal identity and social identity. Personal identity is an identity which is separating an individual from a group of people, means what separates an individual from others. That is the personal identity. Whereas the social identity is something which relates an individual to a group. So simple word I can say, what separates you from a group, what relates to a group. So in this context, application based questions are there. A college student moves to a new city for their first year. They initially feel a strong connection to their high school friends and their hometown's culture. So their bond with the hometown culture is their social identity. Over time, they join a campus club related to their major and find they share similar interests and ambitions with new friends. Their sense of self begins to shift as they identify more as a future engineer and a member of the robotics club. See here, the personal identity is their name or their specific features, special qualities actually. So the robotic member, as a robotic member, the person is having this area. If you see, we can say this as the personal identity. If you see the context here is very clear. Explain how both types of identities work here. The student's initial social identity is rooted in their affiliation with the group, belongs to hometown, high school friends, and as they enter into the college, and their personal identity is something which is unique. See, within the question only I explained the answer, and how to write this answer you can see here by joining the club, how they are able to understand. So this is one question for us in our syllabus. Now the second area we have the self-esteem. Now first of let's learn what is self-esteem. Self-esteem refers to the value judgment made by an individual about himself or herself actually. What value judgment an individual is making about himself or herself, it is called as the self-esteem. A student receives a low grade on major project despite putting a lot of effort. They feel like they are not smart enough and that their hard work is pointless. This mindset leads them to stop trying it in that class. What concept is this the student struggling with and why? So the student is struggling with the low self-esteem here. Means you put yourself down. If you go to the theory aspects of the self-esteem, at the age of 6 years, a child will have the self-esteem in 4 areas. Academic competency, physical appearance, physical athletic competency, and social competency. So here the low self-esteem related to academic competency. Hope you understand. Now let's make a move to the next area, self-efficacy. So the self-efficacy is something you feel that the events which are happening in your personal life you can control, or those events are controlled by luck, fate. You see here the two important concepts for us. What is happening in our life? Are we able to control, or those events are basically happening because of our luck or our fate. So if you think you can control, high self-efficacy. If you feel that you are helpless in this controlling matter, that is indicating the low self-efficacy. A young athlete is new to sports and finds a particular skill very difficult. Instead of becoming discouraged, they watch videos of professionals practice the skill repeatedly and seek feedback from their coach. So, in this context of question, if you see, the answer is the athlete is demonstrating the high self efficacy because he is going for practice. He is learning, he is not waiting for something miracles to happen. Look into this area. If he is waiting for something miracles to happen, then we can say it is low self efficacy. But here this guy is fully practicing, dedicated he is. So it is high self efficacy. They believe in themselves, they have their own ability to succeed. Look into the next question with regard to the self control. A high school student wants to save money for a new video game console. Every time they get their allowance, they are tempted to spend it on snacks and drinks with their friends. To resist this temptation, they decide to give their allowance to their parent to hold for them, only asking for small amounts for essential needs. So, this is an example of what exactly you see. It is the self control. What exactly self control meaning? Delaying or deferring the gratification of needs for some time period is known as self control. Here, the children are delaying their need basically, like buying the snacks, drinks, and they are saving the money for the future purpose. That is indicating the clearly self control. You see how people will build the self control in our class 12 syllabus. It is very clear. Rosa, it's like fasting. Vrat, Rosa, Vrat, fasting. Other than this, we have three more psychological techniques. Generally, children, when you write the exam, you are ignoring these techniques. You are just focusing on Rosa, Vrat, and fasting. You are ignoring. So you see here self observation, self instruction, and self reinforcement are the three important major techniques for us to have the self control in our life. Now, self regulation. It's a very interesting question, my children. Self regulation is what exactly you see? Self regulation refers to putting our efforts, energy in a proper way to achieve the best. Means organizing and monitoring our own efforts, our own energy. You see here, why we construct the dams across the rivers? We're trying to regulate the river flow. While controlling this river flow, you see, we are trying to do the irrigation. Like the same way, human being is having a lot of energy, and that energy is directed in a constructive way. Big achievements will happen in this world. A student has a big exam tomorrow, but is tempted to spend the evening watching a new series on a streaming service. They create a study schedule, turn off their phones notifications, and tell their roommate to hold them accountable. What skills are they using to achieve their goal, and what psychological concept do these actions demonstrate? Yes, truly it is self-regulation. And I can say they are using a combination of skills, like achieving a long-term goal. And the actions they are taking, creating a schedule, you see, creating a schedule and turning off notifications are forms of stimulus control and environmental restructuring. So the self-regulation is a very important area for us. So you see, the self-control and self-regulation, these two together known as the behavioral aspects of self. Whereas the self-esteem and self-efficacy two together known as the cognitive aspects of self. Please try to understand. We have the cognitive aspects of self and we have the behavioral aspects of self here, you see. So each and everything is very important for us. The behavioral aspects as well as the cognitive aspects. Many times the children, you are missing these concepts. Sometimes when the examiner is asking what are the various cognitive aspects of self, you are ignoring. Behavioral aspects of self you are ignoring. Please be careful in this area. Now let's make a move to the next question here. A young person is a dedicated athlete and identifies strongly with their role on team. This is a part of their social self, yes. So you see here, we have the concept like personal self and social self. The personal self actually leads to an orientation in which one feels primarily, means basically concerned with oneself. You are trying to concern with your own self, that is the personal self. I can say that the term personal self is something here which is basically concerned with oneself. Whereas when you see the social self, it emerges in relation with others. So when you are interacting with your team members, and that interactions are leading to give the birth to your social self, see here. This part of their personal self and social self. How do these two aspects of their identity will coexist here, you see? The personal self and social self coexist as different facets of a person's overall identity. The personal self is based on individual thoughts, feelings, and unique traits. What actually you think about yourself? What are the personal qualities? What are the strengths of you? Whereas the social self emerges in relation with others. Being an athlete on a team, these two aspects can enrich each other as skills. It's a really, really higher order thinking question. As skills from one domain can sometimes benefit the other. Yes, you see, there are no rigid boundaries between the psychological terms, whether it is personal social self or personal identity, social identity, you see. That's the reason both are enriching each other. The beautiful term here, you see. So here you can say, however, if one aspect becomes too dominant, it can lead to problems. For example, if the social self you take here, you see the social self here, if it is dominating, is the only source of validation. A career ending injury could lead to a severe identity crisis and feelings of worthlessness. Yes. Conversely, if the personal self becomes too isolated from social connection, it can lead to loneliness and lack of social support. Yes. If the personal self is, you see here how each and everything are interconnected. If the social self is the only source of validation, a career ending injury would lead to a severe identity crisis if we consider only the social self. Whereas we consider only the personal self, it's also having a problem. That's the reason we need both the two. We need both the two here. A healthy sense of self involves a balance between these two identities. If we give more importance to our social identity, what is happening, you see? If we give more importance to our personal identity also, you see, it's going to create the problems in our personal life. That's the reason we need to have the balance. Now let's make a move to assertion reason question. So the first question, assertion, the big five personality traits: openness to experience, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, neuroticism, are often considered stable over an individual's lifetime. Yes, it is true. What is the trait reason here? Trait theories of personality suggest that personality is composed of a set of enduring internal characteristics that predict an individual's behavior across different situations. Both are true actually. So, Big Five is the theory proposed by Paul Costa, Robert McCrae. They have given the five different traits to us: openness to experience, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. And what they are saying here, both are true and R is the correct explanation. Now let's make a move to the another question. So we are going to the type A and type B theory of Rosenman and Friedman. Type A and type B personality theory is a good way to accurately predict an individual's specific behavior in all situations. So type A, type B personality theory is a good way to accurately predict an individual's specific behavior in all situations. No, it is wrong. Why it is wrong? The type A and type B personality theory is not basically to predict an individual's specific behaviors in all situations. It is not possible. Reason: Type theories such as type A, B model categorize individuals into distinct non-overlapping groups based on a collection of characteristics. Very true. Reason is true. Collection of characteristics we are using. Let us understand the type A is what actually. Type A personality possesses high motivation, lack of patience, feel short of time, and always in hurry to complete the work. See this area type A. And type A is having a threat, hypertension and coronary heart diseases. Whereas the type B is absence of type A traits. Relax, cool, calm. That is the mindset here. So the assertion is false here and the reason is true. And this theory is extended to type C and type D. As you are aware, Morris extended the theory to type C and type D. C for cancer, D for depression. Now, let's go to another theory. Assertion. Eysenck's theory is a hierarchical model of personality. We are using the word here, see. Eysenck's theory is a hierarchical model of personality. Next, reason what they are saying, it organizes the personality into 4 levels or super factors. I can use the word super factors. I'm sorry, typing error. Super factors I can say. Traits like habitual responses and specific responses. So what exactly this answer will see? Both the assertion and reason are correct, and the reason is the correct explanation of assertion. See this area. It's a purely higher order for you people, my children. Pure higher order concept it is for you. I collected this all from different past papers and different areas, different things, my children. So what exactly the answer is here? Eysenck's model is considered hierarchical because it starts with a few broad super factors, extraversion and introversion, then breaks them into narrower traits, which are then composed of habitual responses, and finally specific responses. We have the Eysenck's theory. The first one, neuroticism versus emotional stability, extraversion versus introversion, psychoticism versus sociability. Like this way the theory is that it's a hierarchical model actually, hierarchical model of personality. It organizes the personality into 4 levels. Actually it is out of your context. Super factors, traits, habitual responses, specific responses. But sometimes they will ask you the 4 levels, they will not ask, but they will say. So assertion is very clear, it's your syllabus only, hierarchical model of personality. It is basically divided into 4 levels: super factors, traits, habitual responses, and specific responses. Hope it's clear to you people. Let's make a move to Alport's theory. Now see, a cardinal trait according to Alport is a dominant and pervasive characteristic that influences nearly all of an individual's behavior. See here, a dominant trait is called, what is exactly cardinal trait? Highly generalized dispositions, and an individual's entire life seems to revolve around those traits. The best examples quoted in the textbook: Gandhi's non-violence, Hitler's Nazism. Sometimes these cardinal traits are well recognized by the name of those people who practiced. Like non-violence and truth are known as Gandhian traits. Whereas if you observe, Nazism is a Hitlerian trait. Now see the assertion and reason actually. The assertion is very clear here, it's very true. Reason, Alport believed that most people possess at least one cardinal trait that defines their entire personality. Most people possess at least one cardinal trait. Alport didn't believe this and defines their entire personality. No. Sometimes your personality is not purely defined on the basis of cardinal traits. See, assertion is correct, reason is incorrect. If you would like to see the explanation here, I can give to you. The cardinal trait is indeed a defining and pervasive characteristic. Alport argued that they are quite rare, yes. He believed that few people, if any, have a single trait that completely defines them. He proposed that most individuals are better described by a set of central traits and a large number of secondary traits. Yes, majority of the people we can understand in terms of their secondary traits as well as their other traits. Here it is a very clear one for us, my children. I can very clearly say to you people, see, today we completed the concept of self fully, and the type theories and the trait theories. See, the type theories, like we have, I didn't make the questions on Tridosha and Trigunas. Basically the Tridosha is a theory found in the Charak Samhita. Tridosha, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Dosha is actually a Prakriti, it's a temperament, we can say. Now, Trigunas, if you see, it's found in Atharva Veda. It's basically a theory found in Atharva Veda actually. Atharva Veda's theory it is. We are calling this theory as found in the Atharva Veda. Now, Sattva Guna, Rajas Guna and Tamas Guna. These three are three important attributes. Sattva Guna includes dutifulness, cleanliness, detachment and discipline. Whereas Rajas Guna includes intensive activity, desire for need gratification, envy for others, and materialistic mentality. It is materialistic mentality, basically Rajas Guna. Tamas Guna, anger, arrogance, depression, and laziness. Now, any of the guna can be asked to you people, and they may create a question. Which guna doesn't belongs to the character sattva guna personality? Which quality, which attribute is not related to sattva? Or identify which is related to sattva guna, rajas guna, tamas guna. Like the questions may be possible for you. And also Sheldon's theory of endomorphs, mesomorphs, and ectomorphs. You see, endomorphs are fat, soft, and round-shaped people, fun lovers, and they are basically easygoing. Mesomorphs are rectangular body build with strong musculatures. They are ready for challenges, courageous people, athletic people there. Ectomorphs are long, fragile, and thin, and they are very brainy and artistic people. Artistic, here it is. So you can look into this area. So Alport's cardinal traits, central, secondary traits are there. Raymond Cattell, we didn't cover for a higher order question. Cattell's theory basically based on two traits, source and surface. So the source traits are stable, persistent, and building blocks of personality. You see, source traits are like defining your personality. These are deep rooted. The source traits are reflecting in the form of surface traits actually. Surface is something which is basically comes out in the form of your behavior. So we are calling them as the surface traits. Hopefully by tomorrow or day after tomorrow we'll try to upload on psychoanalysis and assessment of personality, because this chapter I decided to divide into two parts. So the one part I completed today, the second part I will do it from maybe by tomorrow or day after tomorrow we'll do it. Hope you understand, my children. Thank you for watching. If you really understood the concepts and everything is very clear, just give a thumb, means a like, and post your genuine comments. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Stay connected.